Everyone, Temporal here, and for this session we are reviewing a Silver Anna. I believe they're freshly over from console, but this is on PC. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that does help me out quite a bit. Do even consider sharing. Or if you're looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, help us figure out what sort of events we want to do as time goes forward, all sorts of good stuff. Are we sitting down? Okay. Okay, that looks like an uncomfortable way to sit down in a airport chair, Anna, but whatever.
2, 1. Round 1. Capture the objective.
Join me.
Okay, so your healing partner is a Mercy, which means you guys are going to have a lot of healing available. She's primarily going to look at damage boosting the hit scan, we'd hope, so you're mostly going to be paying attention to the tanks, though obviously offensive shots, shots on your DPS, those are going to happen as well.
Get back in the fight.
So, I do appreciate that you got the nade through. It looks like D.Va ate it, but I do appreciate that you found a way to get your nade through here. The truth is, those are going to be pretty easy to eat for D.Va because they're very predictable, and even if there wasn't a D.Va, there might be a shield, etc. Like, these nades are okay, and it was good that you got it. Oh, maybe it didn't get eaten. Maybe it's going to hit. Okay, it looks like it's going to hit. That's good. It might only catch the back of them. It might actually get that bad. So this is good. This is good that you got this nade through. I appreciate the weave. So many people would have hit their Rhine shoulder with that, their Rhine's kneecap with that, etc. And I'm fine with it. But in general, getting closer, sort of like you do here, isn't your solution for nades. Instead, throwing them from an angle makes it a bit easier. That way your team is less in the way, you can get them off, etc. And they're less looking at where it's coming from, so they're not as likely to block it, to eat it, to be able to avoid it, because they're looking at your team, and oh shoot, it comes from there, etc. Now you don't want to take tons of times going and taking a flank while your team loses HP, but that's generally how you get the stronger offensive nades rather than getting closer. That said, this is a good compromise. You didn't get super close to these guys or anything, but the nade is a little bit early. That works a little bit better when your team is poke heavy like this, though, because Soldier and McCree have already softened them up. Okay, back to our Anna. And it didn't quite connect, but it was close. So, if you look at this team, you want to think, are there any threats to me? And at this point, we are 22 seconds in, I believe, so we know what the enemy composition is. We've been able to press tab, etc. And are there any threats to you as an Anna? Anyone that could come for you? Well, Moira Leslie goes silly on flanks, not so much. McCree sure can flank. Really, Reaper's the most likely to tank a flank and leave you in a situation where you want to be able to defend yourself. But he's not likely to go on a ton of super long flanks, so if you see windows to throw sleep darts, nades, whatever, you can potentially do them. You don't necessarily need to keep an ability to protect yourself. So the reason I bring that up is because when I look here, if I can have my mouse, thank you. So when I look here, this happened. We threw this nade. It was a little too deep, but good effort. Oh, you did then throw the sleep dart right there. Okay. I didn't see that you threw that sleep dart. That sleep dart was going to be an instant wake up always, but hey, works for me. You got it off. I would have expected you to weave a sleep dart here when the defense matrix went down. It was on the internal cooldown, etc. That sleep dart was likely to last a bit longer than the one on Reinhardt that just he instantly got back up / went to the grave, but that's okay. Tuck left, tuck left. Okay, now you have this. Don't really like that nade. That nade was just for your Reinhardt, and if you look at your Reinhardt's health, your Reinhardt is in no danger. No danger whatsoever. Still in no danger. I don't care that he's missing 100 health. He is perfectly fine. And even by the time you throw this nade, he's missing less than 60 health. So I don't want this nade. When you do throw nades to help your Reinhardt, we want to try to throw them a little bit past him. That would be hard to do from this angle, but we want to try and throw them a little bit past them so that they also hit whoever he's brawling. If they only hit whoever he's brawling, that's not the end of the world. If they only hit him, that's not the end of the world. But we want to try to throw them past him so that they're more likely to get who he's brawling, because the most valuable aspect of the nade really is the purple in most situations, not the heal it delivers. The amplified heal it delivers is pretty good, and by the amplified heal, I mean it makes your further heals during the duration of it increase by 50%. That can be pretty good, as it'll let you heal Reinhardt through more, or it'll let you spend less shots to heal Reinhardt, which means you can spend more shots offensively, and that's pretty good. But we don't just want this nade into Reinhardt's butt when he's missing 40 HP. That's kind of worthless. We want to try to get it past him so that it gets the McCree too, because maybe it'll finish him, or maybe it'll make it so he can't get healed so that Reinhardt can finish him. All those good things. Much better. Okay.
The objective is now active.
Again, you're going to have a little bit of trouble seeing here. I don't mind this. I don't mind you here. But if you're over here, you can potentially have a little bit more. You can still interact with the battle pretty well while having better offensive shots, while being able to dip in nades more effectively than you could from back here. But this is okay. This is just conservative. Defensive, we'll call it, rather than aggressive. Okay, missed the sleep dart. Unfortunate. Don't need to be walking this close, though. This is going on.
It's just a scratch.
Here you are. We loop around. Still don't like the nade. Okay, your Winston is your protection right now. That's fine. Don't want to keep walking in closer here. Like, this is already too far. If your Winston moves, you'd like to tuck here and have this as your corner, as your cover available to sort of work with, etc. You're just in the open from the enemy's perspective. The only protection you have is that your tanks are sort of between you and the enemy, which, hey, that's something, and your team is winning this fight pretty hard, so it's not the end of the world, but you do want to know where you're transitioning to cover-wise, because you're at, what, 100 health right now? 110 health? 125 health. And you see how you just sort of walked up here into the open to try to get that sleep dart off? That doesn't make your sleep dart meaningfully easier. Like, D.Va's already a pretty big target. Whether you hit this sleep dart or not, she was probably immediately going to get woken up. You've cleanly won this fight. This is cleanup, but we still don't need to be here. Like, yes, this is more forgivable because you're here, but what if she has boosters and she just turns boosts into you micro missiles and deletes you real quick? Like, you're already missing health. That's possible. Now, Mercy would probably turn and get you, but that's possible, and it would be really silly to lose you or to lose anyone right here when you've so cleanly won this fight. We're down to, what, 6v2, 5v2, something like that? So we just don't need the risk. We can play here where we've got our normal cover, where we can do our normal things. We don't need to push up closer to the D.Va that can hurt us more, etc. When we're getting ahead in a fight, we play more conservatively.
I'm on fire. Keep out of my way.
Crusaders!
Unfortunate, but yes, that was McCree's shoulder right there. So as we go here, this is going to happen. You're going to have to transition up to here because your Rhine went deep. That is a thing. Your shots are safer. Your Rhine's not in serious danger. I understand wanting an offensive nade. That can be a thing. But you're going to need to create a little more space between you and McCree. Either that means stepping in forward in front of him, which isn't great, or going where you've got this bigger opening to do it. In the meantime, just shoot left clicks until you can get over here where you can throw the nade if that's what you want to do. You just have to respect that your nade is going to trigger on allies that are close. That it happens. And maybe he moved a touch left at the last moment, but that was always in high danger of that happening.
Healing in half.
Who's got the hot hand?
Okay, so where are you going to set up?
Don't worry, my friend.
Okay. Again, I don't really want you in the open here. You might feel like this isn't the open. All these guys are here, but this is their other exit. So this kind of is in the open. They can see you right there. I'd prefer you more where Mercy is. That's better. That gives you some cover against that, etc. That's really more what you'd look to do, where you go, hey, I've got cover in case they come from the other direction. In case someone comes from up here, well, at least I'm closer to being able to run around here. Like, this would be a better spot. You can still interact with your team just fine. It's not like standing here where you can interact with the enemy team, but you don't want to stand here. This is too narrow of an opening that you get spammed out from. So let's adjust over to here.
Nano boost is ready. Get in there and I'll hit you. You're powered up. Get in there.
What? So he doesn't have visor, so I doubt you even meant to get him. You've lost me. You've lost me at why you've visored here, or why you've nanoed here. So Soldier is a good nano target when he has visor available, and when you guys are actually ready to take the fight, ult, etc. So you're here. What is going on here? Let's just watch this.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Maybe you were trying to nano the high noon. That's the only thing that really makes sense here. But you wouldn't want to nano high noon from here either. If you nano high noon from here, that becomes a situation of, oh hey, that's not great. Like, he's still dealing with too much potentially right there. That's not what you'd want to go with here. You want to hold this until you've got a better window to actually get value out of it. And that's going to be once this fight has started a little bit more. This fight hasn't really started. Their McCree is back here. Their Sigma's sort of pushing, but hasn't broken the choke threshold yet. The Reaper's gotten a somewhat aggressive angle, but is clearly still rotating. This fight hasn't really started. So you could nano a Reinhardt or a Winston that were already engaged on the enemy, swinging at them, zapping them, etc. You could nano a soldier that was set up above the enemy and popping or about to pop tac visor, but you don't pop nano to tell people to fight. You pop nano on people when they're already ready to fight, when they're already doing work or about to do work, not when you're trying to will them to go do stuff. And I don't know which of your two hit scan you were trying to nano here. The McCree is probably a slightly better decision, but neither of those is a really good decision right now. Soldier doesn't have his visor, and that's your best nano combo right now. And Electric Cowboy, while fun, while he can probably punch through this pretty hard, it's not going to get these guys. They're going to get cover. The McCree's going to tap bind cover. The Sigma's going to use a second, then shift to get 2 more seconds, and then get bind cover. And he can't get to where he can do work with it. So I'm not sure what you're doing here. Just 1 second. Sorry about that. Okay. So yeah, this is a really weird nano. The fight hasn't really started yet. He's not in a position to use it. Now he might get some value out of it. He might go, hey, I'm going to get my visor out of the nano. That's not really what you're looking for. With that kind of nano, it's going to be on tanks to brawl if they don't have their ult yet. If it's to want to be on a soldier, it's when he has his visor and wants to use it. Okay, we've rotated out. Where's your cover? This isn't permanent cover. You also don't have it. This could be permanent cover. This could be a place that you could play from. You know, our positioning isn't great now. They just sort of burst past us and we all retreated, but you don't control your team's rotations. So adjust over to here. That's going to do more for you. Okay, I'm glad you got to cover there, but I think we both know that that was very open. So here you are. Walk, 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 walk. Did you see that whole space? Like you're walking through here, etc., up to here, etc., before you're in cover again? Like, even though the self-destruct didn't come out like when you started, it came out when you were here-ish or so, that whole time was space you could be shot at. You didn't have the option to go behind cover if you got into trouble. You want to be conscious of where your cover is. You want to know where your cover is from various threats if they start paying attention to you, etc. And this was a pretty long rotation, as this fight is really going on. Okay, back to this. Okay, unfortunate.
I wasn't cut off very well.
Okay, let's see if we can flip it. We got 50%, good stuff.
Hello.
Well met.
Are you afraid to fight me?
Come in.
Hello.
We probably could have taken our offensive shot there. So there's the Pharah. We dodge it and we heal our Rhine. That's okay, our Rhine's missing enough. That's fine. And then you go for the offensive. Cool. Right idea. Okay. Rushing your shots a little bit, unfortunate. First shot needs to be on the Reinhardt now. I'm gonna live with that. That's mostly just a case of missed shots. You did look at the Pharah for a fairly long time, but you did also have the good sense to look away after 2 or 3 missed shots there. That's a lot of a time to not be paying attention to other things. 3 shots on a Pharah means not paying any attention to your allies, not really paying attention to your surroundings. But you did recognize that and look away. It just wasn't in time, and most of why it wasn't in time is because you missed shots. Nade. So this is what I'm talking about. I think this nade could have come out a little earlier, but this is what I'm talking about where it's become an angle. So even though your team all came in from the same direction as you, what you're going to see happens is Reinhardt and Winston both drift to the right. And that makes it so now you're fighting at an angle where the opposing team is worried about this threat from your tanks plus soldier and this threat from you, and they pay more attention in this direction, which means easy little shots on them for you, easy nades for you, etc. So you see how this time your tanks went this way to make this happen? Usually you expect your tanks to go this way when they go this way, so you can just go this way. And as long as your tanks don't retreat too hard, you have the ability to heal them. Now there's risk and reward with that. The risk is if they back up to here, they're stuck out of your line of sight. But we're just illustrating something. We're illustrating the concept of when you take angles, that's the easier way to get your offensive abilities off. And this time your tanks took the angles for you, which lets you get that easy nade off. I think we could have gotten a multi-person purple there, not just the one, but that's fine. Okay, don't look away for too long. This is a long time that you've not really checked on your team on the right.
Come here.
Sure enough, that soldier was pretty weak. No. Doesn't matter to us if this flips. We do not need to go try to... Because to go contest this, we're going to have to go fight a Reaper at close range, and we're going to have to do it without any abilities. We absolutely do not want to do this. It is not worth our life to delay this point for 1 extra second. If this point flips, so be it. They're only at 39%. They don't win the match off of it flipping. We're winning this team fight, cleanly win this team fight, and then flip the point back in this situation. If someone else wants to go challenge Reaper that you can heal, great, fine by you. But you do not walk towards a Reaper with no cooldowns to contest the point for 1 second, because that's how long it'll take him to eliminate you, in a fight that your team is winning. Your team is winning this fight. You see this? They've already taken down 3 people. They're in great shape, etc. You're giving them a chance to get back into this fight by going, hey, I'm going to sacrifice myself. Once Reaper takes you down, your team is only going to be +2 instead of +3. Are they going to lose the +2? Probably not, but if someone else makes a decision like you did, then they might. You see where I'm going there? We're like, this fight is in the bag. Your team has won it as long as you don't take risks, and this is a silly risk that you're taking. You do this. If other people do this, you lose. Don't do this. Cleanly win the fight. Just go, hey, I'm going to take this shot at this Moira over here right now. Hey, I'm going to stand up here and take a scope shot at the Reaper. If he flips the point, so what? I'm going to poke at him twice with zoomed left clicks. Like, that's what we're looking to do. We're not looking to do this. If he flips the point, no big deal. It's not at 99. You're creating a needless risk here. So right, your team was up 3, 6v3, and now they're only up 5v3. If other people make the same decision you did, this could turn. And your Reinhardt did. Your Reinhardt went and fought the Reaper. And if your Reinhardt had went and fought the Reaper while you were still alive, he'd have had a much better chance of actually taking him down. So that might be on you too. Fortunately, the soldier is able to then take him down, but this fight that was, in the bag for you guys, it got a little more dicey based on your decision there.
You're not getting rid of me that.
And that's just a case of A, recognizing when you're up and don't need to take as big a risk, and B, recognizing that you can't run at a Reaper without cooldowns. In general, you don't want to run at a Reaper, but without cooldowns especially. You're leaving your optimal range and entering it.
Let's go.
Okay. Goes a little better when you have cooldowns. Doesn't go perfect, but goes a little better.
Tactical visor activated.
You're powered up. Get in
Okay,
there.
so our nano wasn't very good. That nano I don't care about. Our previous nano wasn't very good, and we also had this case of our positioning was pretty suspect the entire way through. Some of our decision making on risk reward stuff in terms of, hey, I'm going to push this Reaper. In the case of, hey, I'm going to push out into the open. Now your team was winning that round by enough that most of your positional mistakes were sort of covered by the fact that your team was winning hard enough. All of them, in fact, I think were covered by that. But that's still the thing that's glaring at me as, oh, you stand in some pretty risky spots. So we'll want to fix those for you to win harder, closer games.
Capture
Or
the
rounds.
objective.
Maybe you don't win this game. Deja vu. Hey, Gamebuster. Anna's a popular hero. A lot of people want her reviewed.
I have your back.
This is good. This is fine. You're here. You sort of have cover against over this. Your soldier's here. You're like, hey, I can influence this battle, but if these guys start shooting at me, I can just drift to close the angle. If they come up over here, they'd have to go through my soldier first, but I can also drift to close the angle. This is a pretty good spot to be in right now. You look for a nade. Good.
Heal up.
That's fine. You were trying for an offensive nade. Your Reinhardt drifted into it. Their Reinhardt put his shield up, but you were trying for it. And you see you're at a bit of an angle, and it's making it easier. You ultimately weren't at enough of an angle that the opponents didn't see you. They angled in such a way that you and Ryan became the same angle, but you're trying to be on an angle. This is where you throw 2 orbs. No, it is not. You do not throw 2 orbs and let your team get way ahead of you here. Okay, so that's a little dicey. You hear them rotating this way. I don't like your decision to reload here. And the reason I don't like that decision is I know that Soldier, just based on what I'm hearing, just based on the fact that we saw the enemies left this direction, they're clearly pushing your Soldier. So your Soldier is going to come out and he might want to heal from you. You were reloading, so you couldn't deliver that very quickly. And you had 2 shots, so you could have hit a heal on him. No, don't push into them. Don't push into them.
The objective
Unfortunate.
is now
Woo! Okay, so you see how you were just late to read context cues here? So initially your positioning here was good, but positioning isn't a permanent thing. It isn't like, oh, this is good positioning forever. This is good positioning right now. It's great positioning right now.
Heal up.
Still fine. You see how there were like 5, 6 people on point and they've started to drift to the left? You can't see them anymore. You peaked pretty hard here and you only saw the Reinhardt and the Moira. And now you don't even see the Reinhardt. You can actually hear the hog footsteps to your general left direction. So you got to be worried that the opposing team is potentially rotating now. So what you can do is you can check. You can turn your camera and check real quick. And then if they are, you can start to rotate out up to here. So what we do is we'd go, hey, let me just peek for a quick second. Maybe they're not rotating. Maybe they are. Maybe we wait just another second. And we're still here. We're fine here if they're not rotating. And then here, and you even did peek, there's nothing there except the tip of a Rhine shield. So you go, nope, I need to rotate up over to here. I need to rotate up and play from here now because I do not want these guys doing what they're doing, which is coming around here to get me. And that isn't something like, oh, how did they show up here? I'm so surprised, etc., etc. You got plenty of context clues. You saw them generally drift towards this side of the point, and you even did a peek where you just saw the Rhine shield just an instant ago, and you can hear the Roadhog footsteps coming this direction. So you got plenty of notice that they were coming this way for you to rotate up over to here, where you have positional advantage again, protection, whatever we want to call it. Instead, you walk this way to like go check on them. No, we got all the context we needed. We did not need to go physically check to know that they were coming this way. Plus, Soldier just ran past us. That's even more. Sleep dart's the right idea, but you just took too long to rotate, and now you're drifting into the middle of the point rather than going here, or because you were late, you might have had to just go here. It's not great because it's pushing you towards other enemies, but you could have tried to tuck in here and been like, I'm on my heal station, I've got this. It's not great, but you were kind of late to hit the rotation to here.
Angela.
Oh boy, you don't necessarily want to grab his attention, but okay.
Good very many.
Check your right. Check your right. Yeah. Okay, let's kill the slow-mo bug.
I will keep you healed.
Okay. Usually you drift at least a little more to the right here, where you have this as an option of cover. You're a little bit further away. You're harder to jump on, etc. This would be a little bit better than just standing in the open. Because if someone shoots at you here, you have to walk all the way over here to get to cover. And someone can just quickly double tap you. At this moment, they can't because the Winston bubble is in the way, but people will pop up here, Widows, etc., for example. Hanzos will climb up there. And you want to be able to be like, I'm right here, I have cover immediately. Or I'm right here, I have cover immediately, and can rotate, drop, etc. pretty easily. Okay, that's a little better cover-wise. This is a big angle open, though. Like, you don't need to be here to open this angle. You can be here to open this angle. And that's much faster to close it than from here is. From here, if you realize, oh shoot, that's a Hanzo. He can one-shot me. I'm not sure I want this fight. It's kind of a pain to get to cover. Like, you've got to walk all the way out here, or you've got to try to, like, use this tree until you can get down here. That's not really what we want.
Take your medicine.
Okay. Dodge the dragon. Good. To back up a little. You're walking too close. This is the second time you've done that, where you've gone, I want to get closer to try to hit my sleep dart. Don't need to do that. Don't need to do that. If you miss the sleep dart at long range, so be it. Instead, you stay where you are, you try to hit your sleep dart, or you go, nope, there's no sleep dart there, and you don't, but totally fine if you try to hit your sleep dart, and you play from here, where you've got your cover option. You don't go, I'm going to walk closer to try and hit my sleep dart, and now I'm going to back up. Think about how far you are from any cover options. A better Hanzo, a better Hanzo would just be like, bink, you're gone, etc. And even if he hits a body shot, he's got time to hit another body shot, or he's got time to hit Storm Arrow and try to hit follow-up shots. Whereas here, if he hits a body shot on you, and then he pops Storm Arrow or tries to hit a follow-up body shot, you just close the angle and press X and ask your other Mercy to heal you for a moment. Or if you discover that your Mercy's gone, maybe you nade yourself. But out here, your only option is to nade yourself or win. And that's rough.
Step right.
Okay. I don't love it. I don't, but okay. Just leave, or jump off the edge. Don't get staggered, don't get staggered! Good.
You're going to be okay.
Valk will save you, because we're Valking right now for some reason.
My ultimate is ready. All in Wayne.
Okay, so you're gonna combo for the visor. Okay. You're trying to force it. So we can go over that. It's not a big deal. This is in your face. Let's go back one more.
All in Wayne.
You heard the footstep and then pretty much immediately take damage, so I'm going to forgive this. I'm going to forgive this less. You're really slow to turn and... you're moderately slow to turn and find him. So we've got two options here. We can go, hey, we want to try and use our sleep to force his Wraith, and then we'll try to fight him for real, or we'll fight him for real to try to force his Wraith, and then we'll have our sleep to get him. Those are basically your options, and you don't have sleep yet, so you're going, I'll fight him for real. You wanted to angle this nade in such a place. You're not in super danger yet. You're in danger, but you're not in super danger. You wanted to put this nade in a place where it got you, but also got him. He's a close range hero. That is very doable. You can go, hey, I'm here. When he's one step closer, I'm going to nade. Instead of throwing this nade immediately, you can turn and try to take your shot. And then because there's like a 0.7 to 0.9, I forget how long, but almost a second delay between your shots, you can try to go shot, whether you hit him or not, when he's close enough, nade both of you, and then shot again, and he might, in reaction to getting turned purple, Wraith, because he doesn't really like that. No one does. But Wraith will clear purple. And once he's used Wraith, as soon as that's over, he's worried about you sleeping him. And you don't have sleep, so that's pretty much how you have to take this fight. So this nade is early and not aimed properly. You missed that shot. You hit that shot, and at this point, you're just kind of doomed. Like, you can try to save yourself with Sleep Dart, but really, you needed to hit him with the nade. Like, you did hit him with a shot, so hitting him with a shot plus the nade might have been enough to force his Wraith. So, you could have potentially, not won, but survived this duel, which for a support is much the same thing as winning when a DPS shows up in their face.
I've come back from worse.
Okay. He still has Visor. You guys are still ready to win this next fight. You didn't actually need to be with him, but okay. Don't you do it. Don't do it. Good. You guys are doomed. I know it gives like a magnet to you, but you just need to not be here. Like, you guys way overstayed your welcome. Once teammates started going down, this clearly wasn't your team fight. Find your soldier again. By the way, your Mercy you would expect to almost completely pay attention to Pharah at this point, so you're responsible for everyone else, including the soldier. You probably knew you were responsible for the soldier because, hey, he has Visor, but you're also responsible for the tanks.
Go. I'll keep you healed.
Yeah, you don't have nade. There's not much you can do. You can nade this. Yep.
I see you. We're going through. You're powered up. Get in there.
No. I get that you're frustrated, and I'm gonna live with it because you were at 88 when you popped it, but yeah.
Thank you. This will help.
Okay. So that was rough. Unfortunately, what we'd really go back here is this time that you rotated up with your soldier. Remember, your Mercy isn't really a tank healer. You are. So you spent all this time rotating up with your soldier, and your tanks take way too much damage, but they're silver tanks playing into a Reaper. Of course they take way too much damage. That's just how that works. So like you spent this time rotating up with soldier so that soldier could get a good visor, and I understand it, but you don't need to be with soldier to give him visor. Mercy needs to be with soldier if Mercy wants to boost soldier. You do not. You can go, hey, I'm playing with my tanks, my tanks forced their way in here with my healing, and now let me just peek and give soldier nano for his visor. Like, that's totally fine with you. You having done this rotation, not this push but last push with your soldier, is part of why your tanks went down so hard, so easy, etc., and why you then couldn't get the nano visor off. Does that make sense? Like, you don't need to rotate with your soldier to help him get it off. This time you did, you tried, it, still wasn't enough to keep them up, but this was the more correct route for you to be doing it. They're just going to struggle into silver tanks here. We could re-see this last fight to see if you had a better window that you missed. Yeah, let's take a look at it. Before the nano, because at the nano point it's over. Here you are. You're here. You're gonna need to look down, please. Look down for your Reinhardt. Nade, good nade. Hits your heal and your purple. This is exactly what we want.
Go. I'll keep you healed.
No, your Pharah's just not doing enough work for the Mercy that they have. I'm not sure why that counted on you, Winston, but I'm glad it did.
We're going to live.
You can go for the sleep dart on this coalescence. Very little reason not to. You already saw Reaper sort of been in here. He's probably not going to bother you again for a bit, so a sleep dart attempt on this Moira might as well.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Fine. Sleep dart on the Reinhardt. Generally, a sleep dart would be cool. Nade, you might get this off. You might get this nade off if you throw it, and you could hit 2 or 3 people before the Rein shield comes up. Too slow. And also, you didn't want it right center mass on the Reinhardt. You wanted it to get the squishies.
Thank you. This will help.
Okay, so that one we had the bad rotation with our soldier. I think rotations and where they've left you have sort of been a plague in general for you, so that's likely what we're going to be working on as a big takeaway.
See you in the air.
Ready for battle.
Five, 4, 3, 2.
Yeah, so Mercy should mostly be paying attention to your Ashe now, some to your Kree. You're still mostly paying attention to those tanks. You don't have that visor to worry about comboing with anymore, so most of your nanos are going to go into Reiner Winston. This is fine. Nope, nope. You threw that out of shield. So we look here. I get it. Stay here, don't drop. Stay here. That's a shield. Now, you may have pressed the button before that shield came up, but we look at this and it's sort of like the Rhine has the option to shield. There's better things we could do. Honestly, I look at this and go, you're exposing yourself to the Roadhog, which scares me. You're falling off the edge, which I don't like. We wanted to stay up here. We wanted to have the option to play this lane or to play this lane. Like, we can play this lane, heal our Reinhardt, etc. Pop a nade on this wall up here to do its little explosion that gets someone. Or to go, hey, I'm healing my Rhine, I'm healing my Rhine, I'm healing my Rhine. Peak nade, I'm healing my Rhine, I'm healing my Rhine. Peak shot at the Hanzo. I'm healing my Rhine. I'm healing my Rhine. Like, that's what we wanted. This is kind of early as a nade because your Rhine won't necessarily be able to close on this. And as they get deeper, as this Rhine gets closer, this nade is going to get easier. And this Rhine is going to get closer because he's going to want to fight your Rhine. You see how that works? So this is just a little bit early, and you drop. And dropping here is just, why would you do this? Your escape is either through the enemy team, which is scary, or all the way over there. Or like to here-ish, but that's not really an escape. So like this is not where you want to be. No. No, no, no. Don't be here.
Behind you.
What a rotation. Okay, so he sucks.
The objective is
Behind you.
We break the corner. You see the hog, and you just immediately need to reclose the angle. You can stay right here where you have the option to close the angle in case he looks any harder at you, or you can just immediately reclose the angle and go, nope, I'll wait a second. If you wait 1 or 2 seconds, you'll either be able to hear that he's continuing this way, or he'll get bored and look away. And him getting bored for you trading 2 seconds of downtime for him getting bored and you not getting hooked is a totally fine trade. It's better for you to go, I can't really do anything for 2 seconds, or I'm going to have to do a 3 or 4 second rotation this way, than it is to go, I'm going to stand here where it was almost a metaphysical certainty you were going to get hooked. That's just what's going to happen if you go stand here. So just keep the angle closed until he gets bored. He won't just stand here and do nothing looking at the angle in case you show up again for more than a couple seconds, because he's kind of in the open. He's worried about, hey, other stuff that could happen, and he'll feel like, I want to contribute to the fight. I want uptime. I'm going to go over here. And then once he does, you go peek, sleep dart him in the back, and then shoot past him to go interact with your team, etc.
the objective is
You walked at him. You made that pick even easier.
التكرار يعلم الشطار. أهلاً. You're going to be okay.
Ball's having fun.
تمام. Go. I could be weak.
Careful, careful. Don't. Okay, good. I'm glad that you backed out. Keep the angle closed. Keep the angle closed. Okay.
You're covered.
You could sleep. They probably want to swing at your ball pretty bad. A sleep here would be fine. Yeah, a little slow.
Daher wieder.
Good.
Helden sterben nicht.
So while you're reloading, you don't need this angle to be open. You can just be like, oh, I'm reloading. I can't be shooting anyways. I might as well close the angle so that they can't see me either, and I'll reopen it once I'm reloading or just about done reloading. No need to take on the extra risk. Hear the Reaper. Turn for the Reaper. Okay, finish the rotation. It's annoying, but you can't go back here. You're going to have to now rotate up to here and heal from here or take offensive shots from here. You probably don't feel comfortable going back out here. You might with your Reaper, with your McCree there. I would, but I suspect that you won't. You do, but you're going to pay attention to the Reaper. Okay, good, but please don't lose your Rhine.
Just like old times.
Take your medicine.
This is not the end.
Okay, so I don't really want you on this point. You see how they already have control of the point? You being here hasn't done you much good. So let's go back. Let's go to here. Let's go back to when you took down the Reaper. Okay, cool. You've claimed some more space. This is now relatively safe space that you're operating from. Good. Transitioning, playing from here, great. Great. Playing from here, still fine. You've made it so you're a little bit further away from your corner, but you could take this as your new corner. You're pretty okay here. Pretty okay.
Take your medicine.
This is your corner. This is your corner. What do you... No, 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 no. Your corner's back. Your corner's back here. Right here. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay. I know you feel like, oh, we've won the fight, I'm transitioning forward, etc., and you can transition to more aggressive, but this was already your more aggressive transition. Instead, you're doing this, you're doing this. You see, you didn't have a corner to dodge that hook on, you just got lucky that he missed. That's not going to happen as the players get better. And then you're like, hey, I'm on point. Well, you being on point means that you're awfully close to a Reinhardt, which is an enemy melee hero that can swing at you, etc. Wouldn't you have been so much better from here? Where you could still take shots at him, you could still heal your team, you could still peek and sleep dart him. Like, this is so much better. There's no need for you to be close to this fight. You're Anna. You have a sniper rifle. Why would you get this close? And this isn't some like, oh, whoops, it's an accident. Now there's a Reinhardt here. Like, yes, it is an accident. You didn't expect to find a Reinhardt here as you were transitioning your way forward, but there was just no need for you to transition. Again, you could play from here. I don't mind that you transition up to here. You are going to transition your angles to be deepened, to be more aggressive as the fight goes on. That's a thing that's going to happen, but this wasn't earned. You didn't earn this space. Your team doesn't control this space thoroughly enough yet. Your team is winning, but your team doesn't thoroughly enough control this. So this is sort of what we ran into in the first round, where by being out here, you're taking a risk that your team doesn't need. And your team will probably still win, even if you go down here. But if multiple people make this mistake that you're making, they won't. So you don't want to be one of the people making that mistake. You want to play more conservatively when your team gets meaningfully ahead in a team fight like they are here. And more conservatively is this. I don't mean more conservatively like, I'm back here, etc. I mean, you can still deepen your angles. You can do those things that help win you the fight, etc. But you don't need to go here where, oops, I'm on the point. Why am I on the point when I know people are on the point? You as Anna don't want to be on the point very often unless you're the last person to contest. You do a much better job of going, I will keep so-and-so on the point, alive forever. You can do that much, much better if you yourself aren't on the point, because then the enemies have to decide, do they want to be on the point, which is an objective they want, or do they want to be on you, which is off the point? And if they go after you, well, perhaps the point flips, which they won't particularly like. If they go after the point, you can keep the person on the point alive for a very long time. Make them decide on that devil's trade. Use the pillar at least.
Heal up.
Too shallow. Unfortunate. What do you...
I have your back.
Again, you're stepping forward for your sleeps, which you don't really need to do. Are you gonna... Are you? Yeah. Nade! Nade! Okay. It's fine, you just transition over to here. You've still got plenty of influence over the battle.
Get back in the fight.
See how you're much less in the battle now, and this is much safer. You've still got plenty of stuff you can interact with. I'd prefer you had a corner that you could play off of, or a corner that you could play off of, but you can do plenty from right here in terms of influence on the battle, but a Reinhardt isn't going to show up in your face. A Hog is much less likely to just go peek hook, etc. Like, this is much more where you want to be. I'd much prefer here where you have a corner, but you don't need to be rotating up to the point. Close the angle. Good offensive chop, but close the angle. Good. Good nade. Good nade. Good nano. Great. And what made that good? Okay. We're up in this fight, but I'm fine with that. We're up by 1 in this fight. Your Reinhardt just got hooked, and it's not so much that he got hooked. The hook is a good sign that the fight has started. It's that the fight has more than started. There's eliminations on both sides. But what's good here is that your Reinhardt, since he got hooked, is for sure now on top of an enemy that he can swing at. So he's very likely to swing if he's full health. So if you nano him, as soon as he takes damage from that hook, or from the, shoot that follows the hook, he's going to be perfectly happy to swing, and you know that people will be around him, people will be shooting at him because he just got pulled in, so this nade is great. If it gets him, that's okay. If it gets other people that had gathered around to take him down, even better. So this was a great little combination you did here, and you got rewarded quite nicely for it. Someone will probably have something better, but that's what an Ana play of the game looks like right there. Now we're playing more conservatively. I like this.
Till Valhalla, Helden sterben nicht.
Fine. I know you want the bolt. You heard the Reaper to the right, so you're adjusting. Much better. No! So I like that you heard the Reaper over here and you adjusted away, but I wanted you to adjust to here, not adjust to point. Like, you were doing such a good job of keeping, relative distance to the threats, having cover available. You heard a threat, so you rotate away. It was almost so good, but then you went towards point as opposed to towards new cover, which would have been much, much better. Now you've gone, hey, there's danger over here. My spidey sense is tingling, and you adjusted, but you adjusted towards the main threat, which is unfortunately a problem. Unfortunate. This is going to be tough. You don't need to be on this point. I still want you to get off this point. Okay. Good nade. Nope, you won't get her down anymore. Oof. 2 narrow misses on the hog sleeps. That's just practice.
You're going to be okay.
If memory serves, it fires at roughly the same speed as the Mei right click, so you could practice with those. Because the only reason I say that is because you can't make the cooldown 0 in training mode if memory serves. I think there's still that silly thing where it won't let you have 2 people asleep at once, so it actually, even if you try to make the cooldown 0, still makes it like the duration of a sleep or something silly. Maybe they fixed that. If they didn't, you can practice with Mei icicles. But you'll probably want to rebind them to your sleep button for the sake of that practice.
Get over here.
Okay. Good. This is fine. But you have to be ready to rotate away. This is okay for now, just be ready to rotate away. Yeah, rotate away. Rotate away. Okay, don't push him. Don't push him like this. No. Stay on your pillar. Stay on your pillar. Don't go here. Don't walk at the Reinhardt. You want to stay on your pillar. You want him pushing your McCree so you can throw a nade at him. That's what you want to happen. No. No. He was looking right at you. We're not spending our abilities on Reinhardt when he's looking right at you. This is what we talked about when if we want to have a good chance of hitting our abilities on the enemy team, we want to be on an angle from our team. And you're sort of on an angle from your team because your team is very spread out right now. But the reason you being on an angle from your team helps is because it causes the opponents to be looking at your team. If he's looking at you, your team is on an angle from you, but it's not really helping you. So you need to wait until McCree pokes at him a little and he turns, or Ball does a little roll through and moves him, etc. You can't just go, you're looking right at me, but I'm going to go for the sleep. He has plenty of time to reactively pull up his shield to you hitting the sleep dart animation.
Also,
Okay, you got it. But there's plenty of room for improvement here. So come on.
take your medicine.
Okay. So your biggest thing to work on is your rotations relative to threats and going from cover to cover. So you get pulled into stuff and you stand like here, which isn't great. Or you go here and you go, oh, I want this nade, and you drop here, and then you have to rotate all the way out here. Or if we go back to the first map, you had lots of questionable rotations too. So the way I want you to think about your cover and your rotations is, hey, I can deepen my angle as the fight goes on. I can deepen my angle as we start winning. Like if I start here, I can go to here. And then if we really start hard winning, maybe I could transition up to here, etc. But I'm not going to transition up to here when the enemy team is still on the point. In fact, if the enemy team is still on the point, I probably want to be back here. If we push the enemy team off the point, maybe I transition to here. Like you have to stay in places where you can help your team. You have to rotate in places where you can have influence on the fight, help your team maybe get offensive abilities or shots off, etc. But you don't want to be in danger yourself. You don't want to be in places where, oh shoot, the enemy is threatening me from here and the enemy is threatening me from here. You don't want to be in that sort of situation, nor do you want to be close to the fight when it has Reapers, Reinhardts, etc. Like that Reaper that you just ran at on first point there. We don't want to do that. So I want you to think about your rotations more, and I want it to be I start here, I sort of rotate in, and you're rotating in as your team is pushing the other team back, etc. You don't rotate into situations that get you pincered from multiple directions unless you first deal with a threat for one of the directions. Like you did here. You took care of the Reaper that one time, you and McCree did, and then you were able to go, well, preferably here, where you actually went was here, then here, which wasn't so great. But that was right, that you dealt with this threat before you rotated up. So that's fine. Please work on your rotations. And again, you just think of it as, hey, I start where I have influence on the fight. I have to predict where my team is going to go. I have to see where my team is going, and I adjust, I rotate to keep relevant. And you also want to think about, hey, I have these angles. I don't drop like this. I am here where I have influence. I can close the angle so that they can't shoot me. No one on point can shoot me because I can close the angle like this. Or if they start beating my Reinhardt, I can back up and close the angle like this, nade them in the back, shoot them in the back, etc. Or I can go back here, etc. Like I keep one firing lane open at a time. I rotate from one set of cover to a new set of cover to a new set of cover. And when we're winning fights, this is going to be your other thing. So first thing, we're rotating cover to cover. I want you to really think about that. I don't want you to be just caught in the open nearly as much as you are. I don't want you standing on point when there's Reinhardt's Reapers on the point either. So your first big thing, spend 10 games working on it, 15 games working on it, 30 games working on it. Different people learn at different speeds, but I want you using like 10% of your brain power to think about, wait, do I have cover? Should I rotate to a new covered position, etc. So rotations to cover. Let that be 10% of your brain power while you're playing. Even if you play a little bit worse as you're learning, that's totally fine. It's going to come back and then some once you've really gotten that better positioning down, etc. And then the second thing I'm going to want you to adjust is I just want you to have a better grasp of risk-taking in general. So it's okay to be a little riskier when you're behind in a fight, to go, hey, I have to try to make something happen when you're behind in a fight, and you can do a little bit of it when you're even in a fight. But when you get ahead in a fight, you don't want to get risky. You don't want to walk at Reapers. You don't want to go, hey, let me just take these risks, because that's actually what loses you games, that loses you one fights. And you did that a couple times here. So I want you to have a little more awareness of when your team is winning or losing a fight, and when your team starts winning, I want you to take less risks. I first want you to work on your positioning, because that will generally, I think, cause you to do less silly stuff, etc. But as you realize your team is winning a fight, well, you can still deepen your angles. That's perfectly fine. Take more aggressive angles, etc. Take more map control. I do not want you to walk at Reapers going, oh, the point is really important. Walk at Reinhardts, etc. Like, take less risks as your team is more winning the fight. If your team falls behind in the fight, then you can play a little riskier to try to make something happen, etc. Because the way the fight is going, you're going to lose. I hope both of those make sense. If you have any questions, you can certainly message me. You can throw them in the comments, etc. I don't know if you got to watch this live. Maybe you did. I know I sent you the video. But I hope those make sense. If you guys are enjoying the content, please do like and subscribe, as that really does help me out quite a bit. Or if you're looking to get coaching yourself, you can join my Discord in the description below, see what rates look like, see what sort of promos, events we have going on, etc. It looks like you did get to see this one live. Hey, no problem, no problem. I hope that all made sense to you. Again, if you have questions, let me know. I know this topic is a little more ethereal than some of the topics. It's not like nade usage or anything. It's really much more about rotations, which I know can be harder for beginners to understand, but rotate from cover to cover. Make sure you know what your cover is at all times. And then understanding as you get ahead, take less risks in a fight. Both of those are a little more nebulous than what we usually cover. Oh, no problem. No problem. Okay, I'm glad it made sense. You're totally fine to interrupt. I'm happy to answer questions. Chat was a little quieter than usual, but I'm totally happy to answer questions in general during these things. So if you end up doing more of these, don't be afraid to chime in, especially if something doesn't make sense at the time, etc. But anyways, that's what we've got for today, and I will talk to you guys later. Thanks. Temporal out. Let's end this on an Anna screen. There we go.